everyone out there. Welcome back to the Nourishment Naturalista. Thanks for taking your time to come and spend with me today. And what today I want to talk about, first of all, how our Ravens are in total beast mode over this season, and it is just, amazing. I want to talk about some takeaways we can take from the season. I am a Baltimore bred woman, so I definitely am excited about everything that I'm seeing with the Ravens this year. But it's been a long time coming, so I want to touch on a couple of things that we can take away from this Baltimore season. First of all, I want to talk about how there will definitely be trials when you are making your way to your successes in your life. I feel like I want to talk a little bit about how we really can expect the bumpy road of success to be, because it is not going to be easy. So I like to do a little bit of relation in this video between the season of the Baltimore Ravens and how you can kind of relate it to your own personal journey. First, I got to talk about my man Lamar Jackson, Lamarkable. I know you've seen the memes. I know you've heard about him. If you haven't, you might have been living under a rock, but it's okay because I've lived under a rock several times myself. I'm kind of crawling back up under mine right now. But he has definitely been doing his thing on the field and making history and making a lot of sparks fly in our city and beyond. Just look him up if you don't know who he is. But he is our quarterback. For this season, last season as well. And I just wanted to touch on how, this man definitely went through a few trials of his own before getting to this space in his life where he's pretty much just taken over the whole game. So I'm going to be honest with you. There was a meme going around and it kind of touched me a little bit because as you see here on the screen, it says, never forget when 31 teams passed up on drafting Lamar Jackson. And here's the thing I wanted to touch on when it came to that. So, we see the time now where he's pretty much on top of the world. He's pretty much on top of his team, but he's, doing right by his team. He's bringing back to the city and everything like that. But we don't know how devastated and how broken he might have felt when being passed up by so many teams. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we just look at the shining part now, but I'm sure it was not easy, to think about, okay, this may not even be a thing for me. And all of the things that people have been saying about him, this portrait here that you see on the right hand side are all the things that people have said about him. And I'm sure it's been so much more, but just kind of like a, art depiction of how people have talked down on him probably through his life and probably, now even still, but he did not let that stop him. He, stayed focused on what it was that he wanted to do and what his passion was and what I'm sure he felt as though his purpose was, and he kept moving. So I just want to make that a point. There are going to be times beyond times when you are being passed up upon. You are being looked at like, why are you even trying? People are coming for you. People are coming at your neck. People are putting you down continuously. And you probably even feeling like, why should I even keep going? Like this doesn't even make any sense anymore. Don't listen to that. Keep moving. Keep going. Your time will come and it will be grand. I mean, I feel like this is the perfect example of how, if you just keep moving, all the people passing up, all the companies passing up, all the whatever passing up on you and what you have to offer are probably going to be eating it later on. So moving on, I want to talk about being prepared for your opportunity, remaining prepared for your opportunity. So I think if many people don't know, Lamar kind of got in, Mr. Action Jackson, Mr. Lamarkable. He got in the game due to the previous quarterback being hurt, being injured. I don't think he was second string maybe. I'm not going to lie and sit here and say I know exactly what string he was. I watched the game. You know what I mean? But for me to tell you at the time or even at any time that I'm sit up here and I know every single player that plays on the team, I'm not going to do that because that's not the truth. But however, I do know that Flacco was, our quarterback, and we had him for quite some time, paid him a generous amount of money to be here, even to the point that we kind of seemed like we lost a bunch of players at the time. Sorry. So we'll get on from that. But, he really got in because this player was injured. I'm sure it wasn't planned for Flacco to be injured. I'm sure, he thought he was going to be getting right back in after a quick icing of whatever injury it was, especially for the amount of money he was being paid. However, Mr. Jackson got into the game and showed up and showed out to the point where he ended up being the starter. I'm sorry, I don't know why Never Let a Freshman Take Your Spot from Love and Basketball comes to my mind, but it just does. I wish I had a little picture that I could insert in there, but if you've seen Love and Basketball, then you know. So, yes, I'm sure if he would have gotten into the game and he was fumbling all around and getting sacked, every time he was up for time for him to show what he had to give, show him what you got, then he probably would not have, made an impression and been able to stay on the field when it was his time. So that's something else I just want to talk about, in your seasons of feeling like that you are not making any stride, not making any leeway. Where is this going? Why is this happening? Yada, yada, yada. I just want you to remember that you still have to be prepared for when that opportunity comes. If you get your opportunity and you haven't been working at what it is you need to be doing, during the time frame of when you're taking all those, lessons, or what some people, why you're taking all those L's, which are lessons, as to, what you're going to have to do when you get to where you're trying to get to. You can't get to where you're trying to get to and then fumble. And not saying, because even God can turn around a fumble. So don't get it twisted. Anything can happen and he still can get glory, out of just whatever your mistakes may be. So, that's not what I'm saying. He can turn anything around. But if you've been waiting all this time, don't just let your wait, be unproductive. Make sure you're staying productive in your wait. Make sure you're still, doing what you need to do, studying what you need to study, practicing what you need to practice, so that when you get your opportunity to get on, you get in there and you show out. Okay? So they know, oh, hold up now. This is what we've been missing. Okay, we need her. We need him. That's just what it is. All right, and moving along. Okay, so it's no secret that, Ravens are on top, like we were saying. And, they are pretty much just doing the whole thing. Okay, they're just striking lightning twice, 3 times. It just is what it is. So just remember, no matter how dry your season seems, the harvest will come. Do not grow weary in well-doing. And trust and believe me when I say I know that is easier said than done, because me personally, I definitely, go through my own trials, and I know that, oh my gosh, it's like, well, I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to do all I can do. I'm trying to do all I know what to do. But sometimes all you can do is what you know how to do, and stand strong. In this fight, you will get stronger. And, it may seem like, dry days. It may seem like dry seasons. Shoot, it may seem like dry years sometimes, but still do not give up. Your harvest is coming. God is going to bless you so abundantly, and he doesn't bring you to where you are for you to just be left out there alone. He is still with you. And even if you feel like, you can no longer stand, he's carrying you. So your harvest will come. Keep on doing what you are doing. And actually, let me retract that a little bit. Keep doing what you know you need to be doing. But if you feel as though maybe you're not making the right steps to get to where you need to be, maybe it is time to look and see, like, what am I doing that I need to be doing differently? Maybe it's time to pray. Maybe it's time to fast. To get a little closer to him, so he can reveal to you, guidance and clarity on what it is that he needs you to be doing to move more abruptly and intentionally into your purpose. Okay, and moving on. So let me just say, I don't even know if bandwagoning is a word. I tried to look up a plural for bandwagon and I wasn't finding it. So, but for the purposes of the Nourishment Naturalista, bandwagoning is going to be a word today. So, bandwagoning will happen. And when I say this, your harvest will come, is what I just told you. And when your harvest comes, and you get your moment, there are going to be times when people who you hadn't heard from in forever, they're going to hit you up and that are going to try to hang with you and are going to try to party with you or going to try to celebrate with you. And, you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be, disrespectful. You can still show love. We are a loving people. God's people are a loving people. So we're still going to love, on whoever, because that is what God would want us to do. But please know that Ravens have so many fans now coming out the woodworks, that it's just like, okay, well, where was y'all before when we were losing? And don't get me wrong, because definitely, it has been a while, since it had been some rebuilding seasons. Let's just say that. And rebuilding seasons happen in life. Like you don't always, you're not always on top. Everyone has challenges. Everyone has seasons in which they are rebuilding themselves to get back into their purpose where they need to be. And I really love that about the Ravens right now, because it's not like we have not been to championships before. It's not like we have not won championships before, but it did take a little bit of time to get back into this section of where we are, on top, kings of the north, as they are saying right now. And my thing is like, but when you are, the king, when you are on top, everyone is loving you. Everyone has praises. Everyone is, just your friend. But what about the times when you're so low and no one knows who you are and everyone isn't screaming your name? You have to remain strong in those times too. And that's when you will get to see who the real people that care about you and want to see you winning consistently and want to know that you're doing well, not just because everyone is screaming your name. That's when you'll find out who those people are. And, you definitely, want to cherish those people. And just on top of that, don't get so excited about people screaming for you or people, cheering you on, because those cheers and those things, people are fickle, just like fame is fickle, just like fans are fickle, and, they can be here today and gone tomorrow, especially if you have a moment where you're not necessarily quote unquote on top anymore. So bandwagoning will happen. People will come out the woodworks, and try and hop on whatever it is that you're doing. But just remain, focused, number one, on God, and focused on your purpose, and remain humble, because anything can happen at any time. So don't let the bandwagoning throw you off, okay? All right, and moving on. Okay, so be confident and remain confident. I'm sorry, I love these images right here. This guy cracks me up. But be confident in yourself, even through your, dry season. Be confident. Know that you are, who God says you are. You are not just, what people say you are. If you think about that first graphic that I showed of Lamar with all of the words, going back, to what people were saying about him and how they were talking about him and all the things that negative that people had to say. If you look at the first slide, then you will see, that picture. But it's like, okay, people were definitely having, all types of things to say about him, but he remained confident in himself and his abilities. So be confident, take yourself seriously. If you don't take yourself seriously, then no one will take you seriously. And you need to be confident in your abilities. And if you're not, practice, read, research. Do what you need to do to get yourself to a level where you feel confident in what you were talking about, and remain confident. Just because something is not going the way that you want it to go in that moment, it does not mean that it's not going to happen. Know who you are, in God's eyes, and just keep it moving. All right, and so I'm gonna say, to wrap this all up, see you at the Super Bowl. Okay, Ravens will be seeing you all at the Super Bowl. And yeah, it's not like we have not been to the Super Bowl and taken it home before. But I think people just kind of forget. And I just want to say another thing too. Like, Baltimore is a wonderful place to be. I love it. It's home. But it's no secret that, there is a little bit of talk about, the crime here, and sometimes even the hopelessness. Hate to say that out loud, but sometimes there are areas and people, depending on where you are from and depending on where you are at, that it can feel a bit hopeless. However, that is a feeling. It is not a truth. And you do not have to feel hopeless. You can restore your hope. And hopefully, looking at this season and seeing all the ups and downs Ravens have been through, and it has been some downs in the, past years. However, that can turn around at any time. And as you can see, it has turned around for them. And it can turn around for you in your life as well. Again, some of the tips that I gave in this video, some of the things that are takeaways from this Ravens victorious season, is something that hopefully you can, look at your life and see the same thing, and see how, if you continue to, work on your craft, continue to push through all the obstacles, but continue to push through what are considered failures, but really just lessons. Stay prepared for your opportunity, and know that your harvest is going to be coming. That you can definitely, weather any storm and make it through even the toughest situations or the toughest areas in this city. And anybody who's lost somebody in this city, I just want to say to you, I know that it's not easy. I know it is a struggle, and it happens every day out here, but don't let it be, your end all be all, where you feel like there's no going on. God would not put on you more than what you can handle. So I'm hoping that this video was definitely something that somebody could take from. And I'm hoping that everyone makes sure that they subscribe to this channel, because you want to make sure you are getting all of the tips that you can get to move forward in your journey, spirit, mind, and body. Again, Nourishment Naturalista is feeding every element of you. So we cannot wait to see you next time. I can't wait to see you next time. Peace. Smooches. Like, share, and subscribe.